In 1995, amid the glittering lights of Southern California's casino empire, $25 million in cash and bearer bonds vanished from the impenetrable vault of the Golden Mirage Casino in Los Angeles, a fortress owned by the notorious Sinaloa cartel fronted as legitimate business. It seemed impossible. The vault was buried in a basement bunker, guarded by layers of armed security, biometric locks, and round-the-clock surveillance. Yet the fortune evaporated without a trace, leaving only echoes of betrayal. Before we dive into the shadows of that fateful night, consider this. What drives a man to risk everything for a score that could topple empires? The year was 1995, a time when California's gambling scene was booming under the guise of tribal sovereignty. But beneath the surface, organized crime had sunk its claws deep. Los Angeles, with its sprawling urban maze and proximity to the Mexican border, served as a perfect hub for laundering illicit funds. The Golden Mirage Casino stood as the crown jewel in Southern California, a massive complex sprawled across 10 acres in the heart of the city's entertainment district. Architecturally, it mimicked a lavish desert oasis, towering palm frond facades, neon-lit fountains cascading into marble pools, and an interior labyrinth of slot machines, high-roller suites, and underground vaults designed to hold fortunes won and lost. At the core of this opulent beast was the executive vault room, located 2 levels below ground in a reinforced concrete bunker accessible only via a freight elevator guarded by dual checkpoints. The room itself was sparse and utilitarian. Steel-reinforced walls painted institutional gray, fluorescent lighting humming overhead, and a single massive desk flanked by filing cabinets. The vault dominated the space, a Mossler Class 6 high-security safe, measuring 6 feet tall by 4 feet wide by 3 feet deep, weighing over 2 tons. Its door, a foot-thick slab of alloy steel, featured a mechanical combination lock backed by an electronic keypad requiring dual-factor authentication, a key card and retinal scan. Inside, the valuables were stored in sealed containers. Each bundle of cash weighed about 20 kilograms, stacked in fireproof lockers to maintain weight distribution and deter tampering. These riches didn't accumulate by chance. The Golden Mirage was a front for the Sinaloa cartel, funneling drug profits from cross-border operations into clean gambling revenue. In 1995, amid escalating turf wars with rival groups, cartel leader Javier Ramirez had ordered a massive consolidation of funds, $25 million in unmarked bills and bearer bonds, earmarked for bribing corrupt officials and funding arms deals. The vault served as a temporary stronghold during a high-stakes negotiation with U.S. law enforcement insiders, ensuring the money was off the books but readily accessible. Corruption risks loomed large. Insider leaks were common in such military police hybrid structures, where cartel enforcers operated like a paramilitary unit, complete with ranks, patrols, and procedural logs duplicated across digital and paper formats to prevent single-point failures. B-roll, aerial drone shots of the Golden Mirage at dusk, neon signs flickering against the Los Angeles skyline, cut to archival footage of 1990s casino interiors, bustling with gamblers and dealers. Javier Ramirez, known as El General within the cartel, was the iron-fisted overseer of this empire. At 52 years old, with 20 years climbing the ranks from a street-level enforcer in Culiacan, Mexico, to the head of Sinaloa's California operations, Ramirez embodied calculated ruthlessness. His background was forged in the fires of the 1970s drug wars. Orphaned young, he joined the cartel at 18, proving his loyalty through brutal enforcement gigs that earned him scars across his torso and a reputation for unyielding discipline. Socially, he projected the image of a legitimate businessman, donating to local charities, attending galas in tailored suits. But privately, he grappled with paranoia. If the walls could talk, he once confided to a trusted aide in a recorded interview later obtained by authorities, they'd scream of the ghosts I've buried. His motivations were layered. A drive to secure his family's future amid constant threats, tempered by a growing weariness of the endless cycle of violence. Financially secure on paper, Ramirez's real stress stemmed from cartel infighting. Rumors swirled that he skimmed funds for a personal escape plan, a moral dilemma pitting loyalty against survival. Then there was Elena Vargas, the internal accomplice, a 38-year-old senior accountant at the casino, handpicked by Ramirez for her meticulous nature. Her role granted her partial access to vault codes, updated bi-weekly under dual oversight. Elena's background was unassuming. Born in Tijuana, she crossed the border legally at 20, earning an accounting degree from UCLA while working odd jobs. But beneath her composed exterior lay cracks, mounting debts from her husband's gambling addiction, a crumbling marriage, and two young children facing eviction. Psychologically, she was a study in quiet desperation. Habits like chain smoking in the parking lot during breaks, jotting frantic notes in a hidden journal. "I tell myself it's just numbers on a page," she wrote in one entry, later discovered shredded in her trash. "But every zero feels like a chain around my neck. What if this is the only way out?" Her involvement stemmed from a mix of coercion and opportunity. Approached by an organizer promising a cut, she wrestled with guilt, her internal monologue a whirlwind of justification. Family first. The cartel takes everything anyway. Why not take back? The organizer, Marcus Delgado, was a 45-year-old former cartel security specialist turned rogue operative. Discharged from the organization 5 years prior after a botched raid left him with a limp, Delgado harbored deep resentment. His background included military training in Mexico's special forces before defecting to the cartel in the 1980s. Now operating from a seedy motel in East LA, he masterminded the heist with technical precision, driven by revenge and greed. "Power isn't in the gun," he mused in a wiretap call. "It's in knowing where the weak links are." His psychological profile revealed a tactical mind shadowed by isolation. No family, few friends, just a burning need to upend the system that discarded him. Finally, the unexpected witness, Tomas Ruiz, a 62-year-old night janitor at the casino, overlooked in the grand scheme. A Vietnam vet who emigrated from Mexico in the 1970s, Ruiz mopped floors and emptied bins with stoic routine, his access limited but his eyes sharp. Widowed and living alone in a run-down apartment nearby, his motivations were simple survival, but a sense of duty lingered from his military days. "I see things," he later told investigators in an emotional interview, his voice cracking, shadows moving where they shouldn't. But who listens to the old man with the mop? Close-ups of a dimly lit office, focusing on a massive safe door with spinning dials, intercut with grainy security footage recreations of empty hallways at night. The heist unfolded on the night of August 14th, 1995, under a sweltering Los Angeles moon. Normal procedures were ironclad. Security shifts rotated every 4 hours, with patrols logging movements in duplicate journals. One physical ledger at the desk, another digital backup, synced to an off-site server. Access to the vault required 2 personnel, one with the key card, another verifying the retinal scan. Codes changed at midnight weekly, distributed via encrypted memos. Guards numbered 12 per shift, armed with sidearms and radios, covering elevators, corridors, and exterior lots. But discrepancies emerged early. At 1:45 a.m., the night patrol logged a routine check of the basement level. Nothing amiss. Elena Vargas, feigning overtime, entered the executive wing at 2:03 a.m. Her keycard swipe recorded, but unchallenged due to her seniority. Inside the vault room, the air hung heavy with the scent of stale coffee and metallic tang from the safe. Delgado, disguised as a maintenance worker, had slipped in via a service tunnel earlier that evening, exploiting a blind spot in the camera grid, a corruption risk long ignored amid budget cuts. By 2:12 a.m., Elena inputted the code, a 10-digit sequence followed by her retinal scan. The safe's mechanisms whirred, a low hum echoing off the walls, as the door swung open with a pneumatic sigh. Inside, stacks of cash bundles and bond certificates gleamed under the harsh light. Delgado emerged from hiding, tools in hand, a portable electric grinder for any stubborn locks, though unnecessary here, adhesive straps to secure fake bundles, and weighted dummy containers mimicking the 20 kilograms originals to fool initial weight checks. The extraction was precise. 2:17 a.m. They began transferring contents into black duffels, each bundle repacked in under 2 minutes, the process taking 15 minutes total for the $25 million haul. Elena stood watch at the door, her heart pounding. This is it. No turning back. Delgado handled the substitution, placing pre-made fakes, rolled newspaper weighted with sand to maintain the vault's appearance. Transport involved a compact van parked in the employee lot, loaded via a side exit at 2:32 a.m. Timing was critical. Patrols circled every 20 minutes, leaving a narrow window. They could bypass controls ingeniously. Elena altered the digital log preemptively, backdating her access as a routine audit, while Delgado used a cloned keycard source from a bribed insider. Cameras? A looped feed, hacked via a planted device in the server room days prior. A technical feat requiring insider knowledge of the system's vulnerabilities. Nobody heard. Nobody saw. The vault resealed at 2:45 a.m. Journals forged to show no anomalies. Yet intrigue brewed. Twist 1. As Delgado exited, a faint scuff mark on the concrete floor, residue from his boot, went unnoticed, but later matched to a rare tread pattern. According to police reports, trace evidence suggested external involvement, but no fingerprints surfaced. Open questions lingered. Where did the funds vanish to? Was a guard bought off? Or worse, eliminated? The cartel's internal probes hinted at federal complicity, given the bond's ties to DEA informants. Atmospherically, the night carried omens. Distant sirens wailing through LA's smoggy haze, the vault room's clock ticking like a heartbeat, cigarette but smoldering in an ashtray left by a previous shift. Socially, 1995's California pulsed with anti-corruption fervor post-Rodney King riots, yet trust in institutions eroded amid cartel infiltrations. Ramirez's own doubts surfaced in a journal entry. The money buys silence, but silence breeds thieves. Another twist. During the heist, Elena stumbled upon an unexpected artifact in the vault. A small, engraved medallion tucked in a bond envelope, bearing coordinates to a Baja California hideout. What is this? She thought, pocketing it impulsively, a decision that would unravel threads. Psychologically, conflicts raged. Delgado's resolve hardened with each bundle. This is payback for the years they stole. Elena's guilt gnawed. Friendship with Ramirez clashed against her family's needs, a moral tightrope. Ruiz, mopping nearby, glimpsed a shadow in the corridor at 2:40 a.m., his hesitation born of fear. Report it, and I'm dead. Ignore it, and I'm complicit. Tense recreations, hands dialing a safe combination in slow motion. Map overlays showing escape routes through LA streets. Documentary insert. Per FBI archives, an anonymous tip arrived at 6 a.m. the next day. Check the Mirage vault. The general's fortune is gone. The air thickened with suspicion. Short breaths, racing pulses. And then, twist 3. Post-heist, a routine camera review revealed erased footage. Not looped, but blanked entirely, suggesting a higher-level override. Moral dilemmas peaked in Elena's mind. I betrayed a monster to save my own. Is that redemption or damnation? As dawn broke over the casino, Ramirez discovered the empty vault. But the real shock came later that morning. An anonymous envelope slipped under his office door, containing a single photo of the medallion and a note. The shadows know where to look. Follow the coordinates or lose more. What lay at those coordinates? A trap, a ransom, or the key to the heist mastermind? The envelope lay on Ramirez's blotter like a dead bird. Inside, the medallion photograph, the note, and a single Polaroid of Elena Vargas leaving the employee lot at 2:47 a.m. Duffel slung over her shoulder. Ramirez recognized the angle. Camera 14B, the one he'd ordered disabled 2 years earlier after it caught a rival's courier. Someone had turned it back on. He didn't scream. He simply pressed the intercom. Give me Delgado's last known address. And tell Ruiz, the janitor, I want him in my office. Now, slow zoom on the envelope sliding across mahogany. Cut to grainy CCTV stills. Time-stamped 2 hours, 47 minutes, and 12 seconds. The investigation unfolded in layers, the way cartels prefer: quiet, surgical, lethal. Ramirez assembled a three-man team. His nephew Luis, a former Marine; Sofia Morales, the casino's risk assessment chief, who moonlighted as an off-books auditor; and Detective Harlan Pike, LAPD, on retainer since the '92 Olympics cleanup. Pike's badge was real. His loyalty was negotiable. First order: isolate the breach. Sofia pulled the server logs at 9:15 a.m. The digital journal showed Elena's access as approved audit, but the physical ledger, kept in a locked drawer beside the vault, had a page torn out. The tear was clean, surgical, done with a box cutter. Residue under UV light revealed traces of the same adhesive used on the dummy bundles. Someone planned for both worlds, Sofia said, voice flat. Paper and pixels. Ramirez nodded, eyes on the medallion photo. Coordinates. 32.6721 symbol stopnia N, 117.15.81 symbol stopnia W. A derelict warehouse in San Diego's Barrio Logan, once used for staging cartel shipments before the Coast Guard tightened patrols. He knew the place. He'd buried a body there in '89. Twist 2. The warehouse wasn't empty. When Luis arrived at dusk, he found fresh tire tracks, Michelin LTX, same tread as the scuff in the vault room, and a single brass casing from a .380, the round favored by Delgado's old crew. But no money, just a message spray-painted on the wall. The general's ghosts don't rest. Archival insert, DEA memo, redacted, dated August 15, '95. Sinaloa asset reports internal theft. Possible involvement of ex-enforcer M. Delgado. Monitor. Meanwhile, Elena Vargas was unraveling. She'd taken her cut, $2.5 million in a storage locker in Glendale, planning to vanish with her kids. But the Polaroid changed everything. She drove to the locker at 11 p.m., hands shaking on the wheel. Inside, the duffels were gone, replaced by a child's drawing, stick figures labeled Mama and Badman, with a red X over her face. She knew the signature. Delgado's twisted humor. He'd taken the money and left a warning. I see your family. Her internal monologue, recorded later on a burner phone she thought was secure. I thought I was the smart one. Turns out I was the bait. Tomas Ruiz, the janitor, became the wild card. Ramirez summoned him to the office at midnight, offered coffee laced with sodium pentothal, Cartel truth serum. Ruiz, still in his uniform, smelled of bleach and fear. I saw shadows, he said, voice cracking. 2 figures. One limped. The woman. She looked like Miss Vargas, but I ain't sure. Lights were low. Ramirez leaned in. What else? Ruiz hesitative. A noise. Like a drill, but softer. And then a smell. Like burning plastic. From a server room vent. That detail cracked the case wider. The server room vent connected to the vault's HVAC. A microdrone, perhaps, or a fiber optic snake camera. Delgado's military training. Explosives, surveillance, infiltration. He hadn't just hacked the system. He'd physically mapped it. Thermal imaging recreation. Drones POV snaking through ducts, close up on a singed vent grate. Detective Pike's involvement added institutional rot. His reports to Ramirez were clean, but his parallel file to the FBI, leaked years later, told a different story. He'd been skimming casino protection money since '93, using Elena's debt as leverage. When she approached him for a clean passport, he'd tipped Delgado instead, taking a 10% finder's fee. The moral calculus. Pike justified it as survival in a dirty system. His wife had cancer. The insurance didn't cover experimental treatments. In a taped therapy session, obtained via subpoena, he confessed, I told myself it was just paper trails. But paper trails lead to bodies. Twist 3. The money trail led north, not south. A wire transfer from Shell account in Vancouver, $5 million, hit a Panamanian bank at 3:12 a.m. on August 15th. The account holder, E. Vargas Consulting. Elena's name, but not her signature. Forensic handwriting analysis later proved it was Pike's forgery, a double cross to frame her and pocket the rest. Ramirez's rage crystallized. He ordered Luis to bring Pike in alive. I want to hear him beg. But Pike was already gone. Found at 6 a.m. in his precinct locker. A suicide note and a cassette tape. The note read, "The house always wins. Tell my wife I'm sorry." The tape, played in Ramirez's office, contained Pike's final confession, Delgado's plan, the drone, the warehouse decoy, and a final line, "The medallion isn't a key. It's a kill switch. Coordinates are for a dead drop. The real stash is in the walls of the Mirage itself." Documentary insert, LAPD ballistics report, .380 casing matches weapon registered to M. Delgado, seized in 1998. Elena, cornered, made a choice. She drove to the casino at 2 a.m., kids in the back seat, and confronted Ramirez in the vault room. The air still smelled of adhesive and fear. "I didn't take it all," she said, voice steady. Delgado played us both. The walls, behind a false panel in the west locker. That's where the bonds are. Ramirez didn't believe her. Not fully, but he ordered the panel torn out. Behind it, not money, but a ledger. Names, dates, bribes paid to politicians, judges, even a U.S. senator. The real treasure, the cartel's insurance policy. Twist 4. The ledger wasn't Delgado's. It was Ramirez's own, planted years ago as leverage against his superiors. Delgado had found it, photographed it, and used the heist as cover to steal the evidence, not just the cash. The $25 million was bait. The ledger was the prize. Ramirez stared at the empty space where his secrets had been. "He didn't rob me," he whispered. "He erased me." Outside, sirens wailed. FBI, tipped by Pike's tape. The hunt was over. The war had just begun. But one question lingered, whispered in the dark. If the ledger was gone, who held the copies? And what would they do with them? The ledger's absence was a guillotine. Javier Ramirez stood in the vault room, the torn-out panel exposing a hollowed-out section of the Golden Mirage Casino's foundation. The $25 million was secondary now, a decoy swallowed by shadows. The real loss was the ledger. 128 pages of handwritten names, dates, and dollar amounts tying the Sinaloa cartel to a web of corrupt officials across California, Nevada, and D.C. Its theft didn't just threaten Ramirez's empire. It endangered the entire cartel's U.S. operations. Someone held the keys to their destruction. Close-up of the empty wall cavity, dust swirling under fluorescent light, cut to a slow pan across Ramirez's office, littered with shredded papers and overturned chairs. The FBI descended on the Golden Mirage by 7 a.m. on August 16, 1995, tipped off by Detective Harlan Pike's cassette. Agents and windbreakers cordoned off the basement, dusting for prints and seizing servers. Ramirez, flanked by lawyers, played the part of a cooperative businessman, but his eyes betrayed him, scanning every face for signs of betrayal. Sofia Morales, the risk assessment chief, fed him updates. The feds had found the scuff mark, the .380 casing, and a partial print on the forged ledger page. It wasn't enough to arrest him, but it was enough to tighten the noose. Elena Vargas was already in hiding. At 3:30 a.m., after her confrontation with Ramirez, she'd fled Los Angeles with her children, driving a stolen sedan toward Oregon. Her burner phone held one message, sent to an unknown number: "I have the medallion. Name your price." She didn't know if Delgado would respond, or if he was even alive. Her internal monologue, later recovered from a voice memo she deleted but didn't wipe. "I thought I could outrun this. But the money's gone, the ledger's gone, and now I'm running from ghosts." Her moral compass spun wildly. Guilt for betraying Ramirez clashed with terror for her kid's safety. She pocketed the medallion impulsively, its coordinates now a lifeline or a death sentence. Marcus Delgado, the rogue organizer, was 3 steps ahead. Holed up in a Tijuana safe house, he'd converted $10 million of the stolen bonds into cryptocurrency, an early adopter move in 1995's nascent digital black market. The ledger's photographs, stored on a floppy disk, were his true leverage. He'd spent years studying the cartel's weak points, mapping Ramirez's paranoia like a chessboard. In a recorded call to an associate, intercepted by Mexican authorities, Ramirez thinks he's the king. But I've got his queen, his bishop, his whole damn board. His psychology was cold calculus. Revenge for his ousting. Yes, but also a play for power. Delgado didn't want to run the cartel. He wanted to burn it down. Tomas Ruiz, the janitor, became the linchpin. At 10 a.m., under FBI questioning, he cracked. Not from pressure, but guilt. I saw the woman, Miss Vargas, he told agents, hands trembling. And the man with the limp. I should have said something that night. But I was scared. My wife, she's gone, but I still hear her voice telling me to do right. His testimony tied Elena to the heist, but also revealed the burning plastic smell, a clue to Delgado's drone, later found melted in a Barrio Logan dumpster, its circuits fried to obscure its origin. Documentary insert. FBI field report, August 16, 95, witness T. Ruiz confirms 2 suspects in vault breach. Drone debris suggests advanced surveillance tech, military grade. Twist 1. The medallion wasn't just a marker. Lab analysis, rushed by the FBI, revealed micro-etchings, a ciphered list of 5 offshore accounts holding $15 million of the stolen funds. Elena had unknowingly carried the heist blueprint. When she tried to decrypt it in a Portland motel, using a library computer, the screen froze. A message flashed, "You're not Delgado. Return it or they die." Her kids' names were listed below. She vomited in the bathroom's sink, her resolve crumbling. I was supposed to save them, not doom them. Ramirez, meanwhile, launched his own hunt. Ignoring the feds, he dispatched Luis to Tijuana with orders to retrieve the ledger at any cost. Luis tracked Delgado to the safe house by 9 p.m., August 17th, following a tip from a bribed federale. The raid was bloody. 2 of Delgado's men dead, Luis wounded in the thigh. Delgado escaped, but left behind a burner phone with 1 outgoing call to a D.C. area code. Ramirez recognized it instantly. Senator James Caldwell, a name from the ledger. The senator had taken $2 million to stall a DEA probe in '94. Now, he was Delgado's buyer. Nighttime reenactment, silhouetted figures exchanging gunfire in a Tijuana alley. Close-up of a cracked burner phone, screen glowing with call logs. Twist 2. The senator wasn't just a buyer. A wiretap, later declassified, caught Caldwell panicking. If that ledger hits the press, I'm done. Give me Delgado now. He'd hired a private fixer, a former CIA operative, to intercept Delgado before Ramirez could. The fixer's team ambushed Delgado's convoy on a desert road near Ensenada at 1 a.m., August 18th. No survivors. The floppy disk was gone, but a single page of the ledger, photocopied, was found in the wreckage, mailed anonymously to the Los Angeles Times. Headline, August 20th. Cartel bribes exposed, senator implicated. Ramirez's empire began to fracture. The cartel's leadership in Culiacan, spooked by the leak, froze his accounts and dispatched enforcers to audit his operations. His paranoia peaked in a journal entry. The walls are closing. Delgado's dead, but his shadow's alive. Someone else has the book. His moral dilemma, loyalty to the cartel versus self-preservation, tipped toward flight. He wired $5 million to a Swiss account, packed a go-bag, and booked a private jet to Belize, set to leave at midnight, August 21st. Elena, cornered, made her final play. She mailed the medallion to the FBI's Los Angeles field office with a note. Delgado's accounts. Save my kids. At 6 a.m., August 20th, agents raided the Portland motel, finding her gone. Fled with only a backpack and $10,000 in cash. The medallion's cipher cracked open the accounts, recovering $12 million. But her children were found safe in a foster home, placed there by a social worker tipped off by an anonymous caller. Elena's voice memo, recovered later. I'm free, but I'm nobody. The money was never mine. Twist 3. The ledger surfaced partially. A hacker collective, early precursors to Anonymous, leaked 30 pages online, via a proto-dark web forum on August 22nd. Names redacted, but enough details to indict 3 state officials and a DEA supervisor. The cartel retaliated, bombing a Tijuana police station. Ramirez, grounded by a storm, never made his flight. At 2 a.m., August 22nd, his body was found in his office, single gunshot, self-inflicted. A note pinned to his chest, the ghost one. Documentary insert. Los Angeles Times, August 23rd, 95. Casino kingpin dead amid scandal. FBI seizes $12 million in offshore accounts. The final twist. Tomas Ruiz, the overlooked janitor, wasn't just a witness. Cleaning the vault room days after the heist, he found a scrap of paper in the HVAC vent. A torn ledger page listing his own name, marked $50,000, silence. He'd mailed it to the Times, his hands shaking as he dropped it in the box. His final interview, aired on 60 Minutes in 1996. I didn't want the money. I want a piece. For my wife's memory. The Golden Mirage shut down in 1996. Its neon lights dimmed forever. Elena vanished. Rumors placed her in Canada, a ghost among ghosts. The remaining $13 million was never found. The ledger's full contents, if they exist, remain buried in some digital vault, waiting for the next shadow to claim them. Nobody heard, nobody saw, but the vault's secrets reshaped an empire's fall.